All right, so as requested, this will be an explanation on of my circle farming build with the barbarian. I am currently using essences wise. Let's start with the helmet. I'm using the sprint, also leaves tornado in your path that deals a little bit of damage, and by putting a rank 10 gem in there, it also sprint cooldown is decreased by 10%. Now this helmet serves three purposes. One is for the tornado because I'll be using sprint, like I'll be keeping sprint up at all times, right? So I'm constantly summoning tornadoes that will do roughly 3000 damage. But then the second line of this essence, it says damage increased by 90%. And as far as we know is all the damage, right? So damage increased by 90%, rank 10 gem in there, sprint cooldown increased by 10, right? So that's that one. Then on the shoulders, I'm using sprint also leaves a trail of flame, dealing 7100 damage to enemies over 4 seconds. And then the second line also have damage increase. It increases by 90%, right? So 90% increased damage here from everything. 90% increased damage over here from everything, and by putting a rank 10 gem in there, sprint cooldown is also decreased by 10. So I got 20% cooldown on sprint right here. All right. Weapon I'm using, of course, the Bitter Wind. It's an amazing weapon. Whirlwind lets you move without having any reduce on your movement. For chest, I'm using the whirlwind. Occasionally throws out tornadoes that deals a couple of damages when it strikes the enemies. The chest also have the second line where it says the damage increased by 90%. So I have 90% on 3 pieces right here. The rank 10 gem on the weapon, it makes so the whirlwind energy consumed is 10% slower. The second line of this weapon, instead of being increased damage by 10%, is just it increases the whirlwind damage by 18%, right? Then so the legs. The legs I use sprint also increases the movement speed of nearby allies. I don't want to be selfish and put a legs that is just for me. I put the legs that also helps the nearby allies so they move faster and you can get things done quicker and faster. At the same time, because you're putting a buff on a nearby ally, it procs your bottle hope on them, which increases the damage and the movement that they do. And my current bottle hope level, it increases, when you use your skill to grant a buff, increases the damage and movement speed of the target by 17%. Right, so when I cast sprint, I make you run faster and do more damage. Helps me out at the end of the day, right? Not a rank 10 gem in there. Don't need to further decrease the cooldown of sprint. I already got 20 and it's more than enough. I can keep the sprint rotating without having to further decrease the cooldown. On the offhand, I am using the Wrath of the Berserker, now causes nearby enemies to burn. It's amazing offhand for using Wrath. And second line of that weapon, Wrath of the Berserker damage increases by 18%. And by having a rank 10 gem in there, the Wrath of the Berserker cooldown decreases by 10%, which allows me to keep the Wrath of the Berserker on at all times. So I can keep Wrath of the Berserker and Sprint running at all times. It will never expire. I can keep these guys up. And you can see right here, you have like a little green timer that shows when the sprint is going to expire. And I can cast it before it's fully expired. And on the Wrath is the same thing. See, kind of like it's finished, and before the skill is done, I can cast it again, right? So there's multiple things that contribute to maintaining these two up. And it really helps because, when you summon these tornadoes, you also create the firestorm. And you can see the firestorm creates this little extra flamey patch on the ground. And it does a good amount of damage. With that alone, I can kill the mobs. I don't even need to swing my weapon to kill the enemy. How this entire build work is follow me. Besides having, of course, 20% decrease on the sprint on the cooldown, 10% cooldown on the Wrath of the Berserker. What further helps is that in all 6 pieces that I have the reforge bonus of durations of beneficial effect is increased on all 6 pieces, and then also that blessed pebble, which is one of my favorite 1-star. To me, is an amazing gem. It increases the durations of beneficial effects on you by 12%, right? So that helps just as much. A 2-piece V2s increases the durations of beneficial effect on you and your party member by 30%, right? So when you're casting sprint, you're giving your movement speed to nearby allies. V2s comes into place to increase the duration of that. Also procs that bottle hope that increases the movement speed and damage. But then on yourself, like the blessed pebble, it works on yourself, not on your allies, right? Whatever beneficial are cast, either sprint or Wrath of the Berserker, it increased the duration of those things with me by 12%, but Vito's also supplement on that duration increase, right? So I have durations of beneficial effect on the reforges. I have the blessed pebble in there, which is amazing. I got the Vito's in there, that's amazing. So that makes everything last forever, right? So I'm running pretty much just 4 of these gems, and then so that's the essences. Now let's go to the sets. So the sets, of course, I'm using Urge's 2-piece to increase the duration of both my sprint movement speed and my Wrath of the Berserker. And I'm using Grace because all continuous damage and channel damage, right? So the continuous damage and channel damage will be, that fire leaving the trails of flame, whirlwind, all that stuff will fall under this category, which increases that damage done by 15%. And then I also use Isatar 2-piece because then when I defeat an enemy, it gives me increased movement speed and allows me to go around in circle much faster. And then Vito's also supplements the duration of that increased movement speed. Currently, my movement speed is not capped at the 20%. Currently, just because I just got to try to set craft one of these to give me an extra 4%. Like, for example, I got 4% movement speed on the neck. I got no movement speed on the ring. I'll go check to see if I have one. No movement speed on this ring. Movement speed here. No movement here. And of course, no movement here. So if I can try to get an extra 4% movement speed on something that I don't have, I'll get to that 20% cap. What I did do for me to be able to have 16, I actually had to also change my warband room. So my warband room, I have the movement speed warband room in there. And my warband room doesn't just give 5%, it gives 8%. These white remnants from your warband, they stack. So the attributes of the white remnants can be stacked, right? So the room gives 5%. Each one of the stack of the swiftness gives you 1.5%. So this is a 3% movement speed plus 5% of the room. So when I switch to this room, I'm getting 8%, right? So just to give you an example, if I go to protector for a second, my 16% is going to go down to 8%. There it is, right? So I only got 8% movement speed because I got 4 on the neck and I got 4 on the gloves. That's about it. This is the only movement speed. So there's still a little room for improvement, but I'll still show you how crazy quick it is. Switch back right here. Boom, boom. So the maximum movement speed that you can have in your character is 20%, right? What I could do, actually, since I have 16, as you guys saw, I have 16% here. What I could do for testing, let's take off the seeping bile. And let's actually put in, let's take off this BSJ out of here. Because BSJ gives you 10% movement speed, and we'll put that BSJ instead of the seeping bile. right there. Boom. So the BSJ is giving me a 10% movement speed. Movement speed increases your movement speed by 10%. So that means that I had 16 before. I don't go to 26. The maximum is 20. So now I am movement speed cap, right? So let's go play around now. My resonance dropped from a little bit more. I was at 39, now I'm at 33. So I lost an extra 640 resonance there. Anyway, PvE resonance doesn't really quite matter much. I'm still above CR for the zone that is required. That's my sets. Those are my essences. Skill wise, again, Whirlwind, because of it's a channel, so Grace 2-piece works. The Whirlwind damages no longer reduce your movement speed. This is from the main weapon. And the tornadoes for the chest. On my charm, that I have a 2% increased damage on the Whirlwind. Sprint is a buff, so that's how come both Blessed Pebble and Bottle Hope rocks. It increased my movement speed by 50%. It increased the movement speed of allies 40%, right? So I increased my allies' movement speed by 40%. And then my Bottle Hope also gives an additional 17%. Then the Sprint does the Trail of Flames that does damage, and the Sprint also does tornadoes with the helmet. And then I use Furious Charge in there because it helps me get to the targets where I want to go. Sometimes if I need to change the pace or catch up so I don't break a kill streak, I'll use a little extra charge. Movement speed is awesome. There are times like if I wanted to play a selfish build, which is even faster, I will switch the Furious Charge for the I will switch the legs. I will still keep Furious Charge, but then I switch the legs from the current legs that I use to buff the friendlies, and I'll use the PvP legs, which would do the charge and knock up 2 times. Like I would use this guy right here, right? So charge to location, knock up 2 times. I mean, the only reason why I don't do it is because I really don't need to do the knockups. I kill as it is, and I'd rather my party moves faster with me so I can get things done faster, and I'd rather buff the party. I want to be more like support. It works out great. Back to the skills, and then Wrath of the Berserker, of course. It's also a buff, so it helps everything, the duration increase and all that good, all of the gems proc. So we got a buff here, we got a buff here, and we got a channel damage here. Even though Sprint is a buff, you know, the leaving trail of flames is a damage, you know, persistent ground damage. So that does a lot of damage, and it's a nice build. So let's go see it in action. Let's check locations that is fun to do it. There's a million people here breaking the spawn chain. Let's go find another location. Chasar was my favorite zone, man. Just the people that come is... Let's see here. Let's see what we can get. But it's really cool because sprint stays on forever. Like I can run through the map without like ever stopping. It's amazing. So here we go. Right, so I'll show you, for example, I'm not even gonna swing my weapon. I'm just gonna walk over the enemies. Right, so sprint is gonna be up at all times. Wrath of the Berserker is gonna be up at all times. I'm not even swinging. I'm just like walking through enemies. Tornadoes are being summoned everywhere. That was probably my blessing of the worthy. There's a page right there. You're gonna loot that really quick, right? Like, oh, he asked for it. You loot my page in peace. right? So I mean, this build is nice. I mean, I like the whirlwind. I enjoy the whirlwind on the barb. But just walking around doing all the damage to the enemies is pretty nasty. To me, the whirlwind supplements the build. It just makes it so like all I gotta do, like for example, now if I want to kill the mobs, I'll walk maybe like once or twice around them with the fire patch to try to do damage, right? Like for example here, I'll do 2 loops and then maybe get out, and then they'll die over time, right? Like I'll do like 1, 2, and then get out. With the whirlwind build, I don't have to do that. Like we're starting to use the whirlwind, I just do like 1 pass. And that main weapon that allows you to move without, and like use whirlwind without, you know, having to stop is insane. I could just do a 1 pass. I don't have to loop around twice. Like this is just pretty nasty. I'm not killing everything in the room. I should kill everything in order to make sure things spawn in order, but let's kill everything. Let's get the spawn going. Let's build a cool little kill streak. Of course, I use Treasure Hunter for Paragon, and yeah, but that's my build, man. It keeps easy. It's very easy for me to keep everything up and running because the mouse I use is this Logitech G502 is my mouse, and I have like 4 buttons. I have 2 buttons right here that's super easy. Just hit my big fat thumb and I press them both at the same time, and it gets everything casting at once. You see, I just press the button here twice, like right in the middle between 2 buttons, and then I cast both abilities at the same time. And then there's buttons everywhere on this damn mouse. It's fun. Anyway, you know, hotkey your skills to where you can press and hit them all at the same time. And pretty much this is the build, man. I just do a 1 pass. Like I don't have to, you know, stay twirling around. Super quick, super easy build. It's fun. And this build allowed me to, I mean, I just did this exactly what you guys are seeing for the past 7 hours on this stream, and it to me felt like I did it from, like, not gonna lie, maybe like an hour or so. Like I was having fun while I was doing this. This guy's always humping the wall. When you have a fun build, fast fun build, it's fun. And you know, like I'm not resonance stacked. Like I'm obviously I have can go up 5k res because of the wings, but you know, it's PvE, it's circle farming. This is not really about the resonance. It's just about having a build that works with the skills that you're using. And also, this is me soloing, guys. Like if you're in a group of 4, right? If you're in a group and you have other players that are also running with you, not just staying, you know, sitting around AFK auto attacking. If you're having other players that's also helping do a little bit of damage, I mean, it's just non-stop walking, man. It's just, you just stay running, like really circle farming, running in circles, killing things at crazy speed. And you know, when you have to grind 7 hours to get 2,000 scraps only is it's kind of sad. But what makes it a little bit better is the build that you use, right? Gotta have a little bit of fun in there. To me, this reminds me a lot, like, you know, I didn't play that much of D3, but I play a lot of D2 because of the youth and kind of fit around the timeline of the games. And I spent countless amount of hours using that source frozen orb build in cow levels, and it was something like, you know, you just start running around casting that orb and just running to the next pack and casting that orb, and you know, and teleporting and casting that orb, and it's just like, you know, like you just You want to find a build that is fun, that allows you to kill things quick. This is my Barb build. It works well. How I could make it better would be to just find some sad items that aren't as bad as the ones that I have. I don't even think I need to put other rank 10 gems in there. With this current build, if I put additional rank 10 gems in there, if I put a rank 10 gem on this chest, it actually makes Whirlwind do more damage. Since I don't even need to use the Whirlwind, I don't really care about putting the rank 10 gem in there, so I took it out and I actually end up putting it, here. And the legs, it will further decrease the cooldown of sprint, but I don't need to have 30% cooldown of sprint. It already resets like so quick. Like I don't need to, like sprint is already resetting, right? So putting rank 10 gems on those two essences is not going to benefit the build at all. And also if you can muster to get 4 gems to rank 10, those will be where I put them. It will supplement the build. Again, 2 V2s, 2 Grace, 2 Isatar. The Isatar helps. And I'll show you how you can check your movement speed as a whole. So the second that you kill a mob and you cast your spells and stuff, like right now, it took a while, I guess. So let's get that. Let's kill a pack, cast sprint. Let's do everything at once. I want to show you guys the maximum movement speed you can have in here. 50%, huh? The maximum movement speed that you can have in a game is 70%. I'm trying to... You just gotta be quick enough. Ah, there it is. Got it. You just gotta cast everything and then inspect yourself really quick, and then it locks in, even though like you're not. Oh, I guess I gotta increase for you guys to see. There you go. Right. So I'll be constantly, in essence, moving with this build that's 70% movement speed, which is what you want. This is the maximum amount of speed that you can have in the game. All right, you're capped at 70%. Now, that 70% cap means the following, and I found this recently playing with this build. Even if you don't have, like for example, if I took out my if I took off this BSJ because it's only, a rank 3 and resonance is a bit low. If I swapped this by a gem that give me more resonance, like this only gives me 190, I put a gem in there, it gives me more resonance because I'll do more damage, right? But then my base movement speed, wow, negatives because a mob is hitting me. So that 70% movement speed that you get, you can, from skills and abilities, you only are going to be able to gain 50% movement speed from skills. Okay, that extra 20 to complete the 70% needs to be from your base, right? So that means between your gear and your warband room and having a gem like Blood-Soaked Jade is what would fulfill that 20% base, right? Like if now I kill an enemy, let's say I'm killing enemies, so Isatar is proccing and I have everything on, I'm not gonna reach 70. I'll say capped at a 66, right? Because I had 16 originally, and I'm getting 50% from else, from Bottle Hope, 17% increased movement speed, Blessed Pebble, 8% movement speed, right? And then sprint itself gives me 50% movement speed. So like all these things give me a lot of movement speed, way more than what you need. But from skill, you're never going to have more than 50, right? So if you really want to move at 70, which is the cap, you have to cap yourself at the 20, and then you can get 50 from skills. The only other gem, the only other thing I didn't speak about was the trick shot. Trick shot reduces the channel skills energy consumption, right? So it makes my whirlwind last a lot longer, which is the same thing that a rank 10 blessing is doing inside of this main weapon, is making the channel be consumed slower by 10%. So I got 24 on the trick shot, 10 on the weapon. That's a 34% right there, which makes my whirlwind really last a long time. And you know, casting that whirlwind at crazy movement speeds is also kind of fun to do with the build. And every time you cast whirlwind, by the way, you also summon tornadoes. Don't forget, because of the main chest, right? So you can tell the difference between the whirlwind tornadoes are the orange ones, like this brown one. The yellow one is the whirlwind tornado, and the white ones are the helmets for sprint. So this is like, I guess if you wanted to give this build a name, this may be the whirlwind. This is the true whirlwind build. Like, you're just making a bunch of whirlwind tornadoes out there, and your guys whirlwinding forever. Max movement speed. Perhaps I don't even need. You could say, you know, you don't need Isatar 2 pieces because you're going to get that maximum movement speed. Maybe, you know what? Let's try that. Maybe I don't even need that, to be honest. I may just thought myself something, because why do I need to get 30% movement speed on Isatar if let me just put these things. It doesn't have, these are reservists, so they don't have any skills to them. So I just broke my Isatar, so I'm not going to get that 30% movement speed. Let's see what happens here, because sprint already gives me, don't forget, right, sprint already gives me a 50% movement speed, and the maximum movement speed that you can get is 50 movements, 50% from skills. $40. Oh, didn't catch on a good time. There it is. So I don't even need to have that Isatar 2 piece. I could put something else in there instead of Isa 2 piece. I can maybe put in another 2 piece from Grace. I can put in 2 piece Gloom Guide, and then get more use out of my Furious Charge to get that additional 15%. But that just gives you guys you know, like a canvas. So hopefully this is a good base, and then you can go out and make your own crazy build. But I guess that Isatar doesn't really supplement the build as much as I thought. Perhaps it does, because there could be downtimes on sprint, which I really don't have a downtime on sprint. I don't use primary, I wouldn't use Shalbaz. I could go Vitus 4 piece to increase my primary attack speed, but I'm not using my attack speed at all in this. What can I use? I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's take a look, because I really don't think I need anything. What could I do? What could I use? Let me clean my bags first. I really don't need that Isa 2, because I'm already running at 70. And it's gloves and boots. I can do Grace. I can put Gloom in there. Let's put Gloom in there. Oh, he has movement speed. That Isatar has also movement speed 4, so I should try to replace that. This is 3. Grace 4. Each time you damage an individual enemy 5 times, you do an 8,000 damage. I think I will get probably more use out of Grace 4. And then put the Grace boots. Yeah, maybe I'll do Grace because I don't want to be using Furious Charge really. I'm down to use Grace. I mean, especially since I'm using Whirlwind and putting that fire patch on the ground. This might be more beneficial right here to use a Grace 4. Each time you deal damage to an enemy 5 times, you do an extra 8,000 damage. Maybe that could be the way to go. Let me just take a quick peek and see if there's any. Here's a cheat sheet that you guys can do. If you don't know about this, you can open your codex. You can go to any of these dungeons, click on the loot, and then click down here where it says set information. And you can look at all the sets and all the bonuses, blah, blah, blah. So we know Grace, I'll do an extra 8,000 damage. If I use Mount Bank, no. Shout Boss, I'm not going to use my primary. Use a third 2-piece, and would be nice if there's a downtime somewhere, but I'm already going to be at cap. Windloft, gain 1,000 wins when in combat, increase your movement speed by 15%. It would have been great, but I'm already at cap because I have 20 from the primary and 50 from the sprint, so I don't need additional movement speed. Summons, no. I don't cause loss of control. I already have, if I go 4, I increase my primary attack speed, which I don't need. Is either Gloom Guide to increase the damage by 15% for 3 seconds after using a dash, or probably the best option, Grace 2, Grace 4 and Vitus 2. Let me give that a quick swirl and see how, get it, swirl. Let me give that a quick swirl and see how it goes. Yeah. I think that 4 Grace would definitely be more beneficial for sure. Yeah. I mean, the fire patch counts as a damage, right? So let me actually not even hit somebody. Let me just like walk over them and see how the fire patch ticks. I gotta see it ticking like 5 times. What happened? Oh, there's one guy right here. Alright, so let's not attack him. Yeah. Like, I wish you could see, like it. It's so hard to understand what damage is doing what and what time. There's no... Was that 9,000 part of the Grace 4-piece? It's crazy. But yeah, it's a great build. You can see when my legs help the friendly, and the legs help the friendly, they're going to get this little white wisp on their back, like this little speedy thing. I can give, for example, when I cast sprint, I give a friendly part. See that white wisp behind the satyr? That's me casting my sprint on him. You see the speed that the satyr is moving? That's my sprint that I'm casting on him. And like, he will never need to use his horse. Like, his horse will give him also 50%. This is for every class, right? So every class would you can only increase your movement speed by 50%. Well, my sprint is giving him 40%, right? And my bottle hope is giving him 17%. That Crusader would never need to use his drawing quarter. He would never need to use his horse if he's in a party with the Barbarian that's running those 2 specific items. If you have a Barbarian that's running Bottle Hope with the sprint leg that gives to the friendly movement, increased movement speed, his horse is completely useless. Like, at least use the lightning horse that you can do lightning damage or something like that. But you're not gonna move any faster by using the horse. But I hope that that explains to you, Rio. You wanted to see my barb circle farming build. I also use this for purge, speed purge run. Right, Mondays, my warband and I, we do 25 purge runs. So we get 40 warband activity tokens by doing purge on Mondays. Once it resets, we do 25 purges really quick with speeds like this, with builds like this. You can get it done under an hour. So in under 1 hour, you can get that 1,000 warband points, which gives you automatically 3 rank ups on your ancestral tableau. Then, you know, I have a YouTube video about that you can check out on the list of other videos. But this build I use for circle farming, speed purge run. I use it for my bounties. I use it for doing dungeons. I use it for doing Iban. I use it for doing Elder Rifts. I use it for doing everything that isn't PvP related. I even use this build. I have even used this build on doing defense because of the crazy amount of continuous damage, right? So I even do this build on defense, and then once the defense starts getting closer, once the shadow starts getting fog, starts getting closer, I just simply remove sprint out of rotation and I put in undying. Yeah. No, I keep sprint. I remove furious charge and put undying. I don't remember. I have it saved in my armory, but yeah, I use this pretty much same setup for doing defense because of the continuous AoE. And but I was using Isatar too. And yesterday we did endless. We went 26 minutes. We always get ranked. We always get the frame. I'm lucky enough to have some good warband members that knows how to play really well. But I'm trying to find a build with the barb that can help that endless a little bit better. And the good stuff about using the 1-star gems is that endless scales to you, like an Elder Rift scales to you. So, you know, going to endless, being the strongest that you can, you actually are hurting yourself. It's good to dial down a little bit to do endless. But this is my build. I hope you like it. And this is my mood for the cosmetic right now. I feel like this because I'm angry at the game. Complete separate video about that one, but I'll have you right now. It's my bar build.